Welcome to the Whitetail Obsession Podcast with Dave Richmond and co-host Chris Worthing, where we talk and teach everything deer and turkey hunting related. Follow along as we help teach you tips and techniques about hunting, food plots, and habitat management strategies that everyone can use.
Podcast 7,247. I'll be waiting 3 days for Chris to record this podcast. What do you got to say about that? What's your excuse this time?
I'll say my excuse is you sleep too much and you weren't ready. You were not ready.
Unfortunately, I wasn't sleeping.
And then you blew up your internet.
I did. My internet was down for 3 days. I had to run a cable and a new modem and all this crap. And now we're finally recording.
Guy's falling apart.
Yeah. And I had a busy week. I still got to get caught up from I got to make some consulting projects I got to send out. And what's the smallest piece of property you've ever hunted on? I didn't tell you this. I forgot to tell you this.
Smallest I've ever hunted on. Well,
Smallest acreage.
When I lived in Pittsburgh, I was hunting 2 acres.
Okay. So today there was a local guy. He lives 10 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
And I consulted on a 1.5 acre property.
Really?
Yes. He contacted me 3 weeks ago and I was like, dude, you're so close. I'll get you midweek or so, but had some rain and stuff. So I had to get to him today. I was there for an hour.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Couldn't believe it. I told him I reduced the price big time for him because he was so close. And
yeah,
I mean 1.5 acres.
Yeah,
I told
not? Him. You feel bad taking his money.
I know. I did. And I told him too, I was like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how much I can really help you. Like,
yeah.
I said, we can go over some stuff, but you literally have.
What stuck out? What really stuck out when you got there? What was he really in anguish about?
He didn't know how to hunt it.
Okay. What did he have around? What was around him?
Even though he had 3 points of access. He had 3 roads that he can access the property in.
Okay.
So I was like, this is easy. This is easy. So we set it up. He's actually able to get a 1/4 acre food plot put in.
Okay.
He's got an overgrown area that's in a good spot that he can get to right off the road. He's going to plant some pines there to help hide that. And then he's going to hinge cut on one side a little bit to get some more sunlight. And then he's going to plant a food plot.
Gotcha.
So now he's excited.
Yeah.
I've had some guys cancel and reschedule because they got the flu. I had a guy text me today. He had the flu, so he's rescheduling. It's been busy.
Yeah, I mean, in Pittsburgh, it was 2 acres. Here at my house sits on 3 acres, but the house itself takes up about 1 acre. Mm-hmm. So I have 2 in the woods down there. And, well, if I evaluate and have a plan that I follow across the road, there's 3 acres over there. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking about exploring my options over there because I have 2 cell cameras over there right now and they are lit up every night. So I think I'm going to go over there and expound on that and at least get a stand in there. I'll have to do a little bit of cutting just to open up some lanes and stuff, but it's that's a promising area. Mm-hmm. Especially before we got on to record this tonight, I was just telling Dave I had a string of 21 doe come through the yard and hit my feed plot behind camp there.
You know what that means?
It means they're hungry.
No, it means you have a doe factory.
It means they're hungry.
You did it wrong.
They've got that yard all dug up so bad that I think I'm going to have to replant the clover.
You still got snow?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got snow.
No snow here, Cap.
They've got it dug and rutted up. Like it's rooted, rutted, whatever you want to call it. They've got it smashed. I
Crazy.
might have to disc that and replant this year because it's just messed up now.
What are you going to replant it with?
I don't know. I might go ahead this year and just set it up for fall.
Mm.
And because it's been clover now for a couple years, so I've got all that nitrogen bank. And so I might go ahead and put a nice brassica blend of some sort in there and put some grains in it so that there's something green coming
Nice.
for next spring.
So you got some bulbs.
Yes, I want to get some bulbs going and some grains going, and I'll be feeding 365. But yeah,
365.
that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I might, like I said, I think it's been clover now for 3 years, so I
Mm.
should have a nice nitrogen bank there, and that should do well with some bulbs in there.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well,
Feed them up.
I visited a one of the hardest properties I've ever consulted on, and not to mention I stayed in Airbnb, and it was the worst Airbnb I stayed in. I woke up in the middle of the night blowing frost because the heat was not working.
Oh boy.
It was not good. Um, but I told the landowner, and I'm not going to mention names, but he knows who he is, and where I just don't mention all that stuff. But is in Maryland, but I told him when I got there, I said, this is a difficult property to hunt. And he's aware of that. And he was on it, and he had good ideas, but we just kind of refined it a little bit. And I spent one day consulting, and then the next day I was cutting some trees, which I guess we could call phase one, but I have to go back for phase two in March to finish up. Just ran out of time and stuff, but we have to go back in March. But it was one of the most difficult properties I've ever looked at.
You was sitting around eating PB and J's on
I was,
Instagram. I
I
seen it.
was,
I
yep,
seen
I
it.
was. I know. I was sitting
Unbelievable.
down eating PBJs. I was,
Unbelievable. Wasting time.
yep. I was running the Farm Boss 20-inch steel chainsaw.
Where you at?
It wore me out, and by the end of the day, I literally my body shut down.
you look like you had Parkinson's.
Yeah,
You shut the saw off and you was still vibrating.
I did. My hamstrings were locking up, and I was trying to play it off for the landowner. I was trying to be like, yeah, I'm good to go. But when I got in my truck, I popped 2 leaves, and I chugged water, and I was fighting it the entire way home. I was grinning the entire way.
You stopped and bought a whole bunch of bananas and ate them like a
Yeah,
gorilla.
I did. I ate a banana too, and the guy's probably laughing right now because he knows I
He
was
knew you
cutting.
was hurting. He just wanted to see if you'd admit it.
Yeah, I was cutting some trees, boy.
That's funny.
He was on the other side of the property, and he was like, dude. He's like, he come over. He's like, dude, you're a beast. He's like, I could hear these freaking trees dropping, and it was insane. It was just tall pine trees. I mean, it was
Yeah,
property was nothing but pines.
that's funny.
But yeah, it was pretty funny. My body, my legs shut down on me
Mm,
running this freaking Farm Boss. But
yeah,
so today's kind of a podcast that's all over the place. But
yeah, it is.
uh, how's your new electric bike?
Yeah, where is my electric bike?
So everybody listening,
Dave's supposed to deliver me an electric bike.
yeah. So everybody listening, I'm coming up in May again to do. We're going to do a canoe fishing trip, and the number one plan is to get the anchor stuck, drown Chris, and then
Stop.
cut the anchor loose, and then
With the new
catch
cricket knife.
with the new cricket knife, and then because the landowner that I went to gave me a neck knife,
The neck knife. He's gonna
and
hurt himself. He's gonna poke his own eye out.
yep, I'm gonna use my neck knife to cut the anchor. You're upside down, drowning, and then I'm gonna catch 2 fish on 1 lure again.
Oh geez.
But anyway,
These are partial true statements though.
yeah, they are true statements.
I did witness Dave pulling in his popper and it had 2 small bass on it.
It did.
I never seen that before. And then he did get the anchor stuck, and we had to cut it and leave it.
Well,
He tried to drown us. He tried to
you,
drown us.
you talk about me wearing out with a chainsaw. You were wore out paddling backwards.
We were going nowhere.
You gassed out.
We were going nowhere.
Yeah, but you gassed out and you almost killed us.
Minn Kota couldn't keep up.
Yeah. You gassed out.
I didn't have any gas.
So I'm gonna deliver a used electric bike to Chris. That way,
used is fine
because he's old and he's gassing out climbing the hills on public land.
Yeah, those pedal bikes aren't for 50-some-year-olds anymore.
Yep. But we'll jump into electric bikes real quick. Ooh, almost knocked my computer down. Electric bikes real quick. So I purchased this thing. When was that? 4 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that.
Something like that.
And the company, I'm bitter. I'm bitter about the company because
You are bitter.
they really made me mad. But I am now going to sell that bike to Chris, and I decided to actually take Zach's advice and build my own electric bike. So buying one brand new, all set up. I mean, yeah, you can get one. You can get them for $1,700. I mean, you saw somewhat. They were like $1,000.
Yeah, I see
$1,000 or something.
that one company was selling them for like $1,200.
Okay.
And it was a reputable brand. I mean,
yeah. So you can buy them new, pre-built, fairly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get into the hunting brand of bikes, like Quiet Cat, Rambo, what's the other one? Baku, or if that's how you pronounce it. Dude, them they're like $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 for a bike.
It's a trend thing now.
Yeah, it is. So they're jacking the price. I get it. That's just the way it goes. But I decided to build my own. So I bought a Mongoose bike.
Fat tire bike.
I bought a Bafang mid-drive motor assembly. The whole kit. High torque, high everything. The upgraded system. It's the BBOS HD, I believe. Bafang. And I'm building it. It's almost done. I'm waiting on the battery, but the battery, I bought a 52 volt, 21 milliamp an hour battery. Now, all of that said, this cost me like, let's see, like $1,600. But my point is, I feel like because I've looked at the specs on these cheaper bikes, the ones that you buy pre-built, the battery in them sucks. And they're not as powerful as they could be when you build one. So when I first got my Quiet Cat, it's a 1,000-watt bike, but it only had a 48-volt battery with like a 12.2 milliamp an hour battery. That battery is now upgraded in that Quiet Cat, so I think it's a 17.5 now. But I was able to get a 52-volt battery that's 21, I think it's 21.5 milliamp an hour. So you can get all that upgraded stuff for a lower price when you build it yourself. Not to mention, it's been fun trying to build it, but that's going to be my new bike for when me and Chris go back to Sitka Hunt, which when we go back to Sitka Hunt, he is no longer be in the 14th spot because I'm going to be in the 10th spot, and then he may shoot one bigger than he did last time, but probably not because I'm going to hunt the tree that he killed the big one out.
Oh, no, we're pulling straws, man.
Yeah. You like all that?
We're flipping coins.
I was rapping there for a second.
And I was number 13, and you will never beat number 12.
Yeah, right. So that's going to be.
Can you imagine going back there and shooting another one?
Well,
I'm going to shoot another one, but I don't know if it's going to be bigger.
It's possible. They're in there.
I'm going to shoot another one.
I mean, they're there.
Even if it's a 4-inch spike.
Right. They're there. It's a fun hunt.
I would hold out for at least a 4-point.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't shoot anything below a 6-point. I would still hold off for a 6-point.
Yeah.
But
It's obviously it's possible.
yeah, it's definitely possible.
Dave goes, steals my spot, and shoots himself a nice 6-point.
Well, technically, I showed you that spot. I
No,
showed
you
you that.
didn't.
I showed you that area.
That
I set.
area. Yeah.
Yeah, I set you up in that spot.
No, you didn't.
You killed my Sika. You stole my thunder.
I kind of did, but
Yeah. All right, so that's sick. That's the bike. The
I'm
hardest property I.
looking forward to it because like that's gonna change stuff for me. I'm
You
gonna
know
be
my
able to.
favorite.
I'm gonna
My
do.
favorite.
I'll be able to run mock scrapes with it. I'll be able to collect camera cards with it.
Mm-hmm.
Be able to turkey hunt off of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's,
Yeah.
it's gonna change some stuff up.
Yeah. You know what I'm most excited about?
Which
Coming to camp, unloading my canoe, getting on my new electric bike, and riding to the buffet to
yeah.
eat dinner and buy a whole box of chocolate chip cookies.
We're going to the Farmer's Inn.
Yeah, Farmer's Inn, and we're gonna ride our bikes there and pull up in
Going
style.
going to the buffet.
Yeah, that's what I'm most excited
And
about.
and we're gonna sign autographs when we get there.
Are we? Who's gonna sign? Who? I mean, who's gonna sign?
I don't IOU.
IOU.
We'll sign IOUs.
They might make us. I mean, we might have to pay our IOU from last time.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Okay. All right.
Somehow we got a big discount and we probably shouldn't have.
All
So
right.
we bailed out.
We did. Um.
Didn't even leave a tip either.
Nope. So that's
Oh
that's a
boy.
that's electric bikes
Yeah,
building Bafang. It's
we
a
better.
Bafang mid drive
Yeah,
on a mongoose bike.
a
Um.
mongoose. Yeah,
And then we talked about the hardest property I consulted on.
you're gonna do wheelies.
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult figuring out a plan, but he's all set, and I'm excited for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited.
What was the other
So
thing? You said you wanted to talk about an open field.
yeah, that was his property.
That was his property.
Yeah, that was his property.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's like, what do you do in that situation when you have open field? Because I mean, yeah, he had some woods. A lot of it was swampy, which was really unhuntable in a way because there was no way to get back to his the backside of his property
Mm-hmm.
because it bordered other properties. And if he walked, I mean, you'd be trenching through the water, trying to get back there, and it would just been detrimental to his hunting success because the wind, his common wind, was blowing that
Yeah.
way too.
Mm-hmm.
So he was kind of hunting in the center of the property, which was no good really, because again, how do you get to it? So I kind of redid it a little bit, brought him out to the edges, and then added a food plot, a bunch of apple trees, because he has really no food there. There are portions of the woods where I've been cutting on to get more sunlight, more food in there, and make bedding. And then he's going to be planting a little bit of switchgrass, and then the fields he has now are actually grown up. And there's a lot of grasses, but a lot of it is um, Queen Anne's lace,
Mm-hmm.
which does stay standing in the wintertime, and he doesn't get a whole lot of snow down that way. So, and he's already went through there and planted dozens and dozens of pine trees a few years ago that are probably, some of them are 6, 8 feet tall. So he
Mm-hmm.
does have cover on that property, a little bit that's constantly growing. We're going to set him up with a screening across his road with some other bushes and shrubs and stuff he's going to plant, and a whole row of a mix of apple trees. Every other tree would be apple, persimmon, apple, persimmon, apple, persimmon around the food, bordering the food plot, and then uh, finish cutting for bedding. But it was just a difficult property because it was hard to access the predominant wind direction. Um, so I think he'll be good though. He's excited. He gave me a neck knife. I told him I was going to stab a bear.
The cricket.
And yeah, it was a cool property. Had
So
fun.
people are already asking me about clover.
Already asking you about clover.
Yep. Already asking about clover. People
Are
are
you
getting ready.
Are they asking about frost eating?
Yes, people are getting ready for frost seeding. So people are asking,
Were they asking?
can I put grains in with my clover?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, why couldn't you? Yeah, they're cold tolerant, you know. I've personally never planted grains in the spring, frost seeded them, but you can. I would probably do it in the fall. Personally, but there's no reason why you couldn't do it in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
It would sort of act like a nurse crop, like oats does, you know, and be more hardy. But if you let it grow all summer, that stuff's going to be 3, 4, 5 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to figure out what you want to do with the grains once they start getting out of hand. If the deer aren't keeping them trimmed down, they're going to have to mow it like grass, or just wait till it goes to doe stage and then terminate it. Either crimp it, mow it, spray it, something. They'll have to do something to it. But it will nourish your clover for sure. Take the pressure off your clover. But
I want to say something real quick.
I never did it. I never did it in the spring. Have you done grains in the spring?
No, but I want to say
I
something.
never did it either. Go ahead. Say it.
I'm gonna disagree with a lot of people, and that's fine. That's what this podcast is about. Freedom of speech, Trump 2025. But I I've never needed a nurse crop.
Mm.
Never ever. I think people use the term nurse crop, and personally, I think it's dumb.
Mm.
But like, what? Why do you need a nurse crop?
They claim to have a nurse crop is taking the pressure off of the clover.
Okay. But
I've never planted it either. Now
Yep.
it's something like oats has been in a mix that I've planted before.
Mm-hmm.
And the intent of the mix is to use that as a nurse crop, I guess. And it's like no BS has the oats in it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and they say that that's their nurse crop. Well, I never intentionally ever planted oats along with anything for a nurse crop.
I think it's a term that
I thought
just
it was
gets,
an extra step I didn't need to take.
yeah. I mean, I understand the idea of it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I've never needed it. Like if you follow the proper steps and all this other stuff, I mean, what do you need a nurse crop for clover for? So clover is already resilient. It can handle browse pressure. Yes, it takes a while to get established, so the oats can come in, and while the oats are growing, it's going to prevent weeds from growing, and then eventually allow the clover to come up. Because if you have
Yes.
bare soil, then you're just going to have tons of weeds. So I get
Yes.
it, but I just never, like personally, I've never needed it. I've never like had a problem to where I needed it. So I just want to throw that out there. I didn't need it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we touched on that. I mean, that's why people think they need it. They taking browse pressure off of whatever they planted and trying to suppress weeds,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And that's one of the people that asked me that. That's kind of the answer I gave, was the weed suppression part. Because if you're planting enough stuff, you shouldn't have too much pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And that's key, because a lot of people don't plant enough food. Like tonight, I had 21 deer in the backyard there, you know, digging around in my clover. You know, if if you didn't have enough stuff there for them, you know, that's the name of the game. You want to keep them fed.
Mm-hmm.
But
Keep them fed like keeping you fed.
yeah,
If not, you get hangry.
angry. Snickers. Need a Snickers. I'll get
Snickers.
raw.
Yeah, I'm chafed from
He's
not having
chafed.
not having internet for 3 days.
I just thought you was sleeping all the time.
No.
Didn't answer text.
Are you frosty? Who didn't answer text?
You didn't answer no text. You waited till 3 in the morning. Yeah.
What are you frosty?
I have some leftover comeback kid.
Mm.
I have some of that left over, so I'm gonna use that to frost seed, and I'm gonna transition a few things this year. Like I said, I think the backyard I'm gonna discs. I'm not gonna completely take out the clover. I'm just gonna disc into it and get some fresh dirt rooted up, and I think I'm gonna. I'm talking for fall. It's gonna. I'm gonna put some bulbs in there for fall, and across the road at the destination plot, how I always plant something different in the center portion and hunt it. This year, I think I'm either going to put Sugar Mama or Big Sexy in there and try that. Probably it might be Sugar Mama because I know that has a bunch of clover in it, so it'll come up with some bulbs, and then the clover will come back in the spring. So I won't have bare dirt.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say this: our weather was really, really crappy last year with that drought.
A
And
major drought.
we didn't get any measurable rain until into October when we were
Mm-hmm.
already archery hunting.
Yep.
And I had that wingman in over there,
Mm-hmm.
and it shot up, maybe 2 inches, and then we got the drought. And when we finally got that rain in October, it flourished. It didn't get high, but it flourished and survived well. That stuff is green as can be over there.
Mm.
And they are really digging that up. And all the deer, all archery season long, would gravitate into that center portion where wingman was. So, got to give them some credit on that blend. It was drawing the deer.
I'm free as a bird this year.
You are a free bird.
I'm free as a bird.
Free bird.
Free bird.
You can buy whatever you want.
I'm gonna buy Merit seed.
Merit seed.
Yep, the seed company that you bought seed from years ago, and it failed because of operator error, and you blamed it on the company.
It never failed. The only thing that failed was their crimson clover.
Crimson clover.
Yep. But then it came up the next year after I disked.
I know. That's where I killed my.
I rerouted it up, and it exploded.
That's where I killed my very first turkey, over a crimson clover field.
Oh yeah.
Yep, in Ohio.
I like it.
I like podcast 9,742.
Dave, are you going to shoot a turkey in the face this year?
Probably not.
Maybe not.
I don't think I'm going to be turkey hunting this year. I think I'm going to be focusing on fishing in May. No turkey hunting for me.
Bring me a bike.
I am going to bring you a bike. So when I come up, I'm going to have a canoe. I'm going to have 2 bikes.
And an appetite for cookies.
I'm going to have burgers and Dan O's seasoning.
Dan O's seasoning.
And we're going to make burgers. I'm going to catch 2 fish on 1 lure again. I'm going to get the canoe stuck, make you paddle backwards, cut the anchor with my neck knife.
Weak.
And then flip you underwater.
That's the weakest plan I have ever heard.
It's the most. I mean, it sounds like a good plan to me.
Weak.
And then when it's cold out, because the water is cold in May up there, because you live in the armpit of PA.
Armpit.
So you're going to be freezing. So then we're going to get back to camp, and I'm personally going to heat you up a cup of Swiss Miss.
Swiss Miss. You wait and see how big a container I have of cocoa.
Don't tell what's his name that. Don't tell David.
David.
He's getting on you, man. It's so funny.
Hey, what's wrong with Swiss Miss? I'm gonna get a sponsor. I'm gonna put them up. I'm gonna get me a Swiss Miss label.
7-year-olds drink Swiss Miss.
That's
real.
That's the drink for champions.
Real men drink coffee.
Oh God, that stuff will rot your gut.
You know how many cups of coffee I had today?
You probably jittery, man. No internet, broken down van, old.
I'm old. All right, podcast 9000. Wrap it up.
We out.
E-bikes.
111. 111.
This is 111. Yeah.
E-bikes. 111.
All right.
See ya.
Later.